This is about baseball. Now, on the field, if you've not been paying attention, the Orioles have a team that has dominated the American League so far this year. In fact, they have the top record in the junior circuit. The Orioles are 30 games above 500. I didn't play Major League Baseball, but I'm told that's pretty good. So 30 games above 500. They're second only to the Atlanta Braves in all of baseball in terms of record. Unfortunately, it would appear the future is not bright in Baltimore. Holy Eddie Murray, Batman. What is this all about? Well, if you have not been following along, the Orioles' managing partner, for all intents and purposes, the owner of the team, his old man is not able to run the team. So John Angelos, one of the big cheeses there in Baltimore, and he has a warning to those that follow the Orioles. And the warning is of a very bleak future for the Baltimore baseball team. Angelos crying poverty to the old gray lady, the New York Times there, implying, among other things, that Oriole fans should not get their hopes up in retaining the many young players that have dotted the roster and led to such great success. So if you didn't see this, and perhaps not, Angelos, I don't know if we have the violin or not, but this was a little violin music type sob story. He said the quote, this is a quote from the New York Times, "The hardest thing to do in sports is be a small market team in baseball and be competitive because everything is stacked against you. Everything." Oh, my. So sad. So sad. Quote continues, "We're going to have to raise prices here dramatically." The Orioles big shot went on to say, "Let's say we sat down and showed you the financials for the Orioles. You will quickly see that when people talk about giving this player $200 million, that player $150 million, we would be so far financially underwater that you'd have to raise the prices massively." So sad. So bad. Imagine the Orioles owner making these comments and thinking people are going to believe what he's saying. What's going on here? So let us discuss the question. Here's the question. How should the Orioles supporters deal with John Angelos and his threat? As John Angelos saying that we're going to have to raise prices through the roof. So I've got Charles Dickens' magical antidote and juggling machetes. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a nice trust fund is what we're going to make, with John Angelos essentially got, right? He was born on third base and happened to be born into the Angelos wealth, and now he gets to run the team. Has there ever been an example where the spawn of the owner is better or as good as the owner? Like, we're in an era now where there's a lot of people that own teams. It's the family business. It's the second or third generation. And they all blow. Like Jeannie Buss, not anywhere close to Dr. Jerry Buss in terms of being over the Lakers. The Steinbrenner kids, nowhere close to being as good as old man George. You can go down the list. Al Davis compared to Mark Davis with the Raiders, and on and on. And here's another example. Even though the Angelos, the head Angelos, still around, he's just not running the team because of health issues. But the first thought I had for the Oriole fan is to open up the hotel mini bar and have a couple of those little mini cocktail drinks that you have there and knock yourself out. The Orioles have intentionally been manure for a number of years to snatch up picks. They've trusted the process. They've tanked. They tanked for a number of years to get the top 1, 2, or 3 picks in the baseball draft, and they have assembled a stockpile of good players. And so here is John Angelos, though, getting to the very peak of the mountain, shouting into his bullhorn, "There is no joy in Mudville. There is no joy in Mudville." The Orioles CEO, starring in a remake of a Charles Dickens classic, The Christmas Carol. He was playing the role of Ebenezer Scrooge. Bah humbug! Bah humbug! Now, the way I look at this, John Angelos is full of crap. Absolute crapola here. He will never release the financials. Why? Because they're not that bad. In fact, they're actually good. What's my evidence on that? Well, my evidence would be Liberty Media having to release the Atlanta Braves financials year after year. And in 2021, the Atlanta Braves had $568 million in revenue. $568 million in revenue. Now, obviously, they had a lot of expenses, but $568 million in revenue, it's pretty hard to F that up. The other issue here with releasing the financials is the other owners would put together a lynch mob if John Angelos were to do that. So what is the goal here for the Orioles owner? The goal here is to essentially lay the groundwork to shake down some political hacks and create the fear factor. You're laying the foundation that the Orioles need more taxpayer money. They need more goodies. They need more tax breaks and all this stuff. Otherwise, they're going to leave Camden Yards in the dust and go out to the suburbs somewhere and say goodbye, and that's going to be the way it is. A bunch of pathetic leeches. Now, turning the page. The other story in baseball, there's a couple of stories in baseball. One other one that rose to the level of a MALLER mentioned in the monologue. The Yankees, who are not only a baseball team, they suck, and they have 38 games. That's it, 38 games left, and then they'll be put out of their misery, put out to pasture. And now some are calling for Operation Shutdown in the Boogie Down Bronx. Out of an abundance of caution, the Pinstripers need to bench Aaron Judge for the rest of the season. There are people actually penning this and putting this on social media that Judge needs to be shut down. Judge has been hobbled. Oh, my toe! My throbbing toe! That's Aaron Judge. He was KO'd by, of all things, a bullpen gate at Dodger Stadium. How embarrassing for a big burly man like Aaron Judge. He could not handle a bullpen gate at Dodger Stadium. What an emasculating situation that turned out to be. But let's talk about this. Should the Yankees shut down Aaron Judge for the final month of the baseball season? And the only acceptable answer here is hell to the no. Hell to the no is the answer. And you're not in the NBA. Knock it off, as Ryan Leaf would say. You're in baseball. And this is the first year of Aaron Judge and his massive 9-year contract for $360 million. The skipper, who's not long for the Yankees either, Aaron Boone, recently said that Aaron Judge won't need offseason surgery. So he's not going to need offseason surgery. So, okay, he will have, by my count, 5 months to rest up and heal and get better. Spring training for the Yankees does not start till mid-February, but that's mostly for pitchers. Hitters don't really get going until around the 1st of March. So he's going to have 5 months. But you take the magical antidote. Do not bring the pro bouncy ball plague, the poison of cutting corners to Major League Baseball. Do not do it. Don't do it, please. No. All right, final thought. So let's go to college football. It is almost that time. Collegiate football about to get going in all of its glory. And it will never look the same after this year, as college football will morph into just 2 conferences that matter, the SEC and the Big Ten, and everyone else a bunch of leftovers. With that being said, Deion Sanders has agreed to a new deal. Colorado leaving for the Big 12. They're going to be in the Pac-12 this season. But Deion Sanders, if you didn't see it, Coach Prime, it was announced that he will be filming a Jackson State-like documentary. They made one of these at Jackson State when he was there. And so now coaching the Buffaloes, the University of Colorado has entered into a binding contractual agreement with the business manager of Deion Sanders to film another docuseries with the Buffaloes. This is the follow-up to the Coach Prime series on, appropriately enough, Prime Video that captured the time there in Jackson, Mississippi. So what is your reaction to Deion Sanders and his latest television pursuits in Colorado? So Coach Prime on Prime makes sense. He's already done it. He likes it. It's not a bad thing. And Deion Sanders has proven, based on his actions here, that he is more than willing to juggle machetes. He's not against juggling machetes. He's fine with juggling machetes and multitasking and all that, combining his love of show business with his love of football. Now, I did read that Colorado, it is interesting to note, is not receiving any kind of monetary compensation as part of the contract, and that is a rarity because, for example, Michigan, when they agreed to provide access to the people at Amazon, the university got $2.25 million, but Colorado getting a wink, and that's it. I don't even know if they got a wink from the Amazon people. So it's good for the Deion brand. It's all about the branding. It's branding, 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 branding.